Hey, Biff, what comes after 69?
What comes after 69, John?
Mouthwash.
It used to be a kind of like a family-friendly dad jokes for a while, but somehow we skipped over to,
Oh, well,
adult content.
Here you go. How about this one? Why, speaking of family, why is diarrhea hereditary, Biff?
Now we go to the gross side. Why is diarrhea hereditary, Jacques?
It's in the genes. It's a family joke.
Joe. I'm going to say it 3 times. Joe.
Make a like a high, make a hiney ho. Make a like a high, make a hiney Joe.
It's amazing when that shit works.
We've said that before.
I do like, but it doesn't mean I don't love it. You know, yeah, I still like Empire Strikes Back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Carnival Personnel. I'm Jacques.
This is Biff,
and I'm being held here without my consent.
Blink twice if you're in trouble because it's a podcast. He's not blinking. Don't say it to anybody. Anyways, gentlemen,
we never established a safe word. By the way, I just thought I'd reiterate that point.
My safe word's harder, but it's just we can be a little confused. Anyways, welcome back to us. We had a few week hiatus, but in that hiatus, I got to spend some quality time with you, Biff.
That's correct.
And again, on behalf of the entire FNH and John Taylor family and community, you hosted one heck of a shindig.
Well, thank you.
Last week, it really was great. And it was great that he had no idea. It wasn't. No, he didn't. It was really nice that, his wife and his son were in on the planning and the plotting. It was great to see his friend George. It was great. I mean, the few people who haven't been to your party before, and those of us who have been there for dozens of them, it's a standard raving about the food and the spread and the hospitality. Truly, each and every time you just raise the bar.
Well, you know what? It's the one thing I can actually do is just feed massive people. So there you go.
We're not recording on Zoom, by the way.
Oh, you know what? We aren't recording on Zoom. Is this it? Just to make sure? Is that it right there? I don't have my glasses.
Yeah, record on this computer.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Just as a backup. It doesn't hurt. I can go. Thank you, Joe. Anyways,
thank you.
Getting right into it.
Oh, you dropped your paper.
Yeah. So I was just in LA for my second of 2 visits inside 3.5 months. The first one was for the fertilizers trip to Phoenix, and this past one was just because, and it was great. Again, stayed with our friend Renetsky and got to drive her monster truck around LA. It's
Sunday. I'm sorry.
It seriously is. Like Biff drove in it. Like we ran some errands in it. Am I making it up that it's a monster truck, Biff?
It is a large truck. It also is kind of haunted or something where it arbitrarily decides to turn on the air conditioning.
Yeah, it was only 101, 102. Stop your bitching. But it was a dry heat.
Right.
It was a dry 102. But now I'll be back in a few more weeks to complete the trifecta for 3 days. I don't want to brag. 3 days of Duran Duran at the Hollywood Bowl.
Nice.
There you go.
I'll go to at least 1, possibly 2 of the shows, but I think just 1.
Do they give you a discount for cleaning up after each show because you're going to so many?
I mean, honestly, management should get some kind of. She is a little. This is epitome of first world problems. She was hoping she's going back to Chicago for work. She gets there 2 days after Duran Duran plays. Like the work family schedule couldn't make it. So, but getting there 2 days after Duran Duran plays means she's going to miss them playing in New York, which she was going to by 1 day. So it's kind of a bummer she has to travel all over the world to see her because her work schedule prevents her from seeing will she actually be. So
unfortunately, will they play Rio?
I don't know if they play it this time. Maybe cross your finger. Maybe Girls on Film.
No, I mean the actual city. Will they play Rio? Like, will they go to? Because it's kind of a hot bed of a political turmoil down in Brazil?
Perfect. Yeah, why not? Seriously, where are they playing that there's not political turmoil?
True.
It is a huge concert place, though. Like, I mean, like Rock in Rio is like a major festival with like 100,000 people showing up.
I mean, Carnival is huge.
It was Rock in Rio that Nirvana was on the plane to go to, and I remember seeing Dave Grohl say this. It was either Behind the Music or one of the documentaries. He's like, "Oh man, we made it. We're playing at this festival with 100,000 people," and they were so jacked up. On the flight, they were made aware of Weird Al Smells Like Nirvana.
That's when they knew.
And seriously, and here's Dave Grohl. Like, they cover Michael Jackson. He covers Michael Jackson. He covers Madonna. Now we've made it.
Yeah.
You know?
And rightfully so. That's the proper way to know when you've made it. It's not that you've changed your name and then you make it. Because
So, I am. I'm looking forward to coming out to LA. I was bummed. The party was the highlight. It truly was. No close second. This time I had both boys. We did Six Flags, of course. We did Universal, a few times. The Waterworld show still mesmerizes. I didn't get to see our friend Woody because of schedule. I don't know if either of you, I know you do, Biff, follow Woody on the socials.
Oh, yeah.
He's always been funnier, but he's getting funnier and better with After Effects. I mean,
and of course, we don't have to explain who Woody is because he's one of the 7 people who are listening to the podcast.
No, I actually, when I talked to him about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I've mentioned before, like after I was in LA and I saw him last time, he listened, but honestly, he the other night posted, and we'll get into it a little bit, but a little teaser of what's to come. Woody took the scene from Home Alone 2 with Donny Four Scoops, and it's just a 3-second scene where Macaulay Culkin asks him where something is, and Woody has Macaulay Culkin saying, "Hey, where are you hiding the nuclear codes?" And then it's Donny Three Scoops line, "Oh, it's down the hallway right to the left." I mean, he used the actual line of the footage from the movie. I'm like, damn it, Woody. Funny, political.
He must be murdered. He's not allowed to be so talented.
Or take my role over on the podcast. And any objections? The eyes have it,
I don't remember saying it.
So Woody's getting funny. I don't know if I'm getting funnier. I do know I finally got up on a stage and did some stand up.
Whoa.
I had sent Joe I sent Joe 2 clips. I don't think I sent you the clips, Biff. A little too embarrassing. But the 2 clips that I sent Joe is, one, walking from our friend Renetsky's house to the venue.
Yeah, right. That I mean, it took me longer to load the clip than for me to actually play the clip because it was so.
Is it like right on that corner?
It's like, right on that corner.
Right. I almost wanted to reply back. How far are you going? To the end of this fence?
And it's true. I was looking for places, and I'm like, oh, this is in Reseda. Why do I know this place? It's because I walked past it 3 times in the 4 days before walking over to the 7-Eleven across the street from it to get the little guy his SpongeBob popsicles.
Oh, I thought you were just going across the street to Turner's Outdoorsman to, you stock up on all of your ammo.
Oh, dude, it's right across the street from an ammo and fishing supply store.
Well, I mean, it's legal.
Yes, it is.
And you only need a license for one of those things.
So
hey, I got one of those.
He does have a fishing license.
Fishing license.
I was.
Well, you're from Japan. Don't they give that to you at birth?
Exactly. So we.
I'm Portuguese. I can say that.
Funny enough, I don't think they.
You see,
so
Japanese people and Portuguese people can do, derogatory fishing jokes. Only those 2 races.
Because you're both from island nations.
Yes.
So do you have what's the Portuguese?
Well, Portugal is not an island nation, but the Azores is an offshoot of Portugal. We're kind of like the Hawaii.
Could you point to it on the map for the listeners?
Yes, it's right over here by the nuclear codes. It's I don't know anything about fishing. I don't know anything about Portuguese at all.
I don't know a lot, but man, do I got some opinions. You want to hear them?
Yes. Save it for the sideshow.
So it was great. you know, when I had talked to Joe, and when we started writing comedy again a couple years ago, there's just not a lot of places here to do open mic. And if I want to, it's an hour away. The weird thing is in LA, I would definitely drive an hour to do stand up in like Beverly Hills or down in North Hollywood or something like that. But it was fun. The guy had posted comics welcome, but it was really a band open mic. I have the first comic who ever walked in. He was super excited. He was like, "Oh, we've been doing this about 4 weeks. We've been advertising, and anybody wants to come and do this." And he's like, "Well, you want to go up in like 15, 20 minutes?" I'm like, open mics are usually 3 to 5, and I'm going to be stretching, you know.
There's only so many my dad left me when I was a kid jokes. Right? You know?
Yeah.
Actually, you can do a whole special on that.
I actually could. And Biffy will, and there was a couple of people like, "Oh, you should let me know." I'm like, no, the only one no, I didn't even tell my wife. I didn't even tell Renetsky or the boys. I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to run an errand." Came back like an hour and a half later. I'm like, "Where did you go?" And I handed them my phone, and they were like, "Wait a minute, where is this?" I'm like, "Right next door." I didn't even have Renetsky walk the 3 doors over, but I had to do the Irish goodbye because there was like, the guy ran in, a couple of his friends I was talking to beforehand, and they were being super nice, but at the same time, I'm trying to remember what I'm going to say and make a little set list. I talked to Joe the night before. I'm like, "Hey, what are like 3 or 4 of the least worst bits I have?" I mean, they all suck, but what do you think I should go up with? And so I did. I had like 6, 7 minutes, and then I just wanted to hide afterwards, but a couple, really nice guy, older guy, honestly, right out of like a movie, Hispanic guy, the classic mustache, like, the tank top t-shirt, the neck tattoos, brings me over a beer and tells me how great it was and wants to talk to me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't drink, but I wasn't telling him that. I mean, I did that.
But you know what? To be fair, it's because you didn't see the folk singer that opened the set last time. So
he maybe said the same thing to him.
I forgot to remind you not to do Jesus jokes, but it was fine.
A couple laughs out of the
it's
Jesus
LA.
joke.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on.
All right.
But no.
And a couple of the guys in the audience were named Jesus. So
see, this is why we got to be a duo, right? Am I right?
See, that's a joke you could do the Jesus jokes in LA, but the Jesus jokes, maybe not so much.
I didn't say that.
Hey, Jesus, cross your legs. We only got 3 nails. Anyways, I'll show myself up.
I wish you would.
So it was fun. Last time I was in town, Renetsky and I binged watched season 1 of Ted Lasso. This time we binged watched season 2, and it was it just gets better. Watched The Gray Man together. It's nice, we spent quality time doing all that. It was great. I'm looking forward to coming back. But what have you guys been up to the last few weeks since we've chatted on the podcast?
So I hosted a barbecue.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, it's kind of the same old stuff, right? But let's see. I wonder if the last time was before or after I had my epic concert at the Whiskey A Go-Go. I don't know if we ever got to talk about my epic show at the Whiskey A Go-Go
with the band that was live streaming it, and it was cheaper to go to the Whiskey A Go-Go and see them live.
So this is
the
great.
Live
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah. So I went to see this Japanese all-female heavy metal band, and they're actually like super good, like super super technical. They're really really good, and you know the Whiskey, and people who for the people who don't know or haven't been to the Whiskey, I mean, because it is a legendary club, where the Doors started out, Van Halen started, all that stuff. It's a tiny 500 capacity club, and it used to be a really really dingy place. It's kind of disappointing that the bathrooms are now clean, because I kind of like the really, kind of disgusting, dingy,
right,
80s.
The dank mode, the dank.
Yeah.
No, I get
but
it.
Anyway, yeah. But this band plays, like a a little bit over an hour set. It was like a last minute. The announcement came like 2 weeks before the show, and it's $15. They sell out because it's only 500 seats, but it's $15, which is like, even for the Whiskey, it's actually a pretty cheap show. But then if you want to watch the edited version, not live, 2 weeks later, it was going to cost you like $35.
That's hysterical. I mean, like sometimes at those things, they'll give you a code. Like, oh, because you were here and part of this, they'll give you a code to see so that you can see it free. But no such luck on that with you.
No, but I actually was gonna watch it, but because I don't mind giving the band the money, but
whatever happened
just
to
got
good
too
old
busy.
good old bootlegs,
Right, exactly.
Bootleg.
Like all those Fish and Grateful Dead tapes you have, Joe.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny because all those clubs, the whiskey's for 500 people. The Viper Room was what, 125? I mean,
Yeah.
and
probably. I think they're technically like 200, right?
and
I
you think of the
technically.
bands that came out of that place, and
Yeah.
the same thing. The Troubadours, tiny, and what is
Yeah.
the place right next to?
There's also the Roxy.
The Roxy. I played the Roxy, and again, tiny room, and then next to the Roxy is Lemmy's old hangout. What was that place?
Oh, the Rainbow.
The
The Rainbow's a
Rainbow.
restaurant.
Right,
Rainbow
but
Room.
again, tiny. I mean, the place is legendary, but it sits like
Yeah.
60 people. 65 if you took out Lemmy's pinball machine that he went there every day to play, or the video game that he played.
Well, so that's kind of on towards the bar side, which is kind of outside. But so the last time I ate at the Rainbow, we were going to this kind of an 80s metal-ish kind of a show with a couple of my older friends, and then one of them first time at in Hollywood. So I said, you know what, we should do the kind of the more complete Hollywood experience. So let's have dinner at the Rainbow before the show, right? We'll just be that caricature. But no kidding. The table next to us has Sebastian Bach sitting there.
Oh, wow.
So my friend goes, yeah, this is that complete thing, that you promised me,
That's awesome. And what about you? Since we've last been in the same room, Joe, what have you been up to? How's your life?
Oh, we don't want to bring down the audience. Everybody's having such a good time with their houses and stuff. I don't want to make people feel upset about my goings on. Not much. I want to let's talk about something
fun.
Like what else? What horrible thing have you written down? In this rundown?
So my friend John, and I really highly recommend it. It's a podcast. It's a 6-episode podcast called The Disconnected, and it's the energy correspondent for NPR in Texas for like 15 years. And he did a deep dive into what went down with the grid like last year
when they had that snowstorm.
But he's been the NPR energy correspondent for over a decade there. And it's a real historical look at how fucked up Texas. No, literally.
Yeah.
How
I know.
It's the crazy thing. It's the number one energy provider for the country. And it is the most fucked up. And again, it was all back to let's privatize it.
Yeah.
Let's deregulate it. And it became this hedge fund commodity that you could make money if things went sideways. It was so the people who made the most money stand to gain the most, the more fucked up it was. And we even know this because in California, before I left there, maybe right around the height of the Enron shit, we had rolling blackouts in LA. And I remember running a post house, having to try to schedule around rolling blackouts as much as you could because your tape room's going to go dark for an hour, for 2 hours. And what it was is, I don't know if it was Enron, but another energy company.
No, I think it's Southern California Edison, I think.
But a Texas conglomerate bought a couple power plants in LA and slowed them down because it's supply and demand. Oh, if we own 10 power plants and we take 2 off a line, there's less power on the grid. Therefore, we can jack it up. It's a hard listen. And they have the recordings because all these are public records and their state congressional hearings. There's board members' calls. People have recorded when they're and for one thing, I'll jump to one of the fun things. The state of Texas will be paying off that hike for the next 20 years because basically what little energy there was, they were able to charge 9,000% markup on it. And which the state had to buy. The state had to buy, for the hospitals and the essential stuff. They had to keep critical infrastructure going, almost didn't. But anyways, the disconnect.
So and to kind of give you an idea of this, So, when you had those rolling blackouts, I didn't have rolling blackouts because my energy provider had not only did they have redundancy, but they also had an excess. So they were actually selling their energy to like Southern California Edison, probably where you were being given service. So, and my energy company, Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, damn government.
Nice. So it's all Paul Ruger who kept it going for you. All right.
I know.
The blind squirrel take. So let's get right to it, gentlemen. Gentlemen.
Oh my God.
Thank you. So I'm going to start by saying Joe loves game shows.
Love them.
Love them. Can't get enough of them. Biff, you like game shows, right?
I love game shows.
You love game shows.
I watch Buzzer all the time.
Oh, great.
So on Monday, somebody spun. There we go. Somebody spun the giant wheel of Kramarama. When there was a raid, which isn't a raid, forgive me. I've been programmed now because they've been saying raid so much.
Raid?
When a warrant was executed, when a lawfully
warrant was executed, but they had that hit
cherry
shot.
pie. Anyways, okay.
Hey man,
So-
Janie Lane is dead. That's not funny.
Oh yeah, man.
Well, let me jump to the chase. When news broke what was going down at Mar-a-Lago on Monday, nobody knew why. Because somebody, like I said, spun the wheel of crime-a-rama and didn't know where it stopped. Was it January 6th stuff? Was this the Georgia election? Was this the fraud in New York? For the first 2 or 3 hours, it was just speculating. The FBI is inside Mar-a-Lago. Which of these federal indictments have we been waiting to finally see start to come to a head? What was your money before you knew why they were there, Biff or Joe? When you first heard about it, what did you assume the search was for?
I honestly, I kind of heard it backwards. Like I heard that they discovered documents, and then, but I didn't hear about the raid first, and then what they were looking for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of got it backwards. But I assumed it was January 6th or Russia or something. One of those.
Actually, I forgot Russia. Right.
How can you forget
Yeah.
Russia?
How could I forget Russia?
Russia has not forgotten
Well, yeah, I
you.
mean,
In Russia, we
Like-
forget you.
but just with the timing, right? I mean, given the timing, I pretty much presume. So this is where while they're on recess, the January 6th committee is going. I pretty much assume it was just,
You're right.
something came out of that, and and maybe something did come out of it, but then they got something else. Kind of
Well, that's what everybody thought because, with the Russia hoax, it turned out, this guy Paul Manafort's really fucking bad dude. So we're going to get to this whole shit that he had going on with giving opera research to a foreign government. But by the way, look at all these, because, like Al Capone, he didn't go down for feeding opposition, info to Putin. He went down for the financial crimes that he had committed.
Hasn't gotten syphilis yet, though.
So, right, that's the thing, because I was watching Ted Lasso with our friend Renetsky, and I got a text from a friend on the East Coast like, look, I went on vacation. I wasn't glued to CNN or to MSNBC. I wasn't listening to radio. I was actually, going to theme parks and having a cookout with my friend Biff and all this stuff.
You were unplugged, as they say.
It was nice, but honestly, as soon as I got that text, we went right over to MSNBC. And for the first couple hours of watching this, nobody knew what it was. And there was all that speculating because, you know what? It was a little suspicious that his ex-wife died the day before giving testimony in a quick, let's get her in the ground on a golf course as soon as we can.
To get a tax write-off, by the way.
To get a tax. Is that what it is? Is it the January 6th thing? At the same time, like just in the past week, there was, it kind of started to come to her head that, Rudy Giuliani, that's going to be a warrant out for him for not showing up in Georgia for his deposition for trying to steal the Georgia election. And then, this past week, well, the funny thing was Trump was in New York to give a deposition on his fraud case.
On the civil side, yeah.
Right.
On the civil case, yeah.
But while they're investigating the civil stuff, it turns out that, maybe they have some federal things that haven't expired in the statute. But that's the most fucked up thing about what went down at Mar-a-Lago. It could have been for one of 6 or 7 federal crimes. And I think we all forgot oh, that's right. He took these documents because that's been going on for a year. For a year, they said, hey, you weren't supposed to take these documents.
Whatever he can't flush.
We'd like them back, please. And then my favorite thing, so that's on Monday. So Monday night, the outrage, and all day Tuesday, the this is an overreach. This is political. They had no right to do this. And there were so many people that I follow on Tuesday. It's like, you know, he can post the search order. He can post like, you know, like it's not when they went into Mar-a-Lago, they didn't make him sign a DNA. You know what I mean? Not
NDA.
a DNA.
An NDA.
NDR. An NDR. NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Yeah. So he could have posted it at any time, but he didn't. And they kept beating the drum louder and louder and louder and louder. And then so finally, I mean, Merrick Garland, who's very quiet, who's behind the scenes, finally stepped up to the mic on Wednesday and fucking called his bluff, which is beautiful. It was beautiful. It's like, oh, okay, well, out of respect, we don't tell people publicly that we went in and we did this search. He announced it, you know, and he said this. So we're going to give him 3:00 tomorrow, and you know, to fight whether he wants. And then it made the Donny Force Scoops, you know, camp. It's like, okay, so we've been saying that we had no right to do this. It was unlawful, and we either come clean and say, okay, yeah, you can publish it, or we fight it. And well, if you have nothing to hide, why are you hiding this? So anyways, what were your takeaways, Biff, as an outsider looking in?
I mean, you know, I think the one thing that I guess the stuff that really, really scares me is the potential of, I mean, and this is all speculation from other people, right? I have no idea what's going on, but the idea that, you know, like nuclear technology could have been sold to the Saudis, who've been wanting it for years and years and years, and what that would have done to destabilize that region, right? So yeah,
and you would be in the wrong, and just a bad person to speculate that just about a month ago, Jarrett was given a $2 billion interest-free loan from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Just a little bit of and that
who hasn't been given a loan from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia by this point
for $2 billion?
Well, you know, but you know, a Nigerian prince contacted me with an even better deal.
Nigeria.
So yeah.
Can we go on that? Is that a, you know?
You know what? Let me just, you know, kind of move this along, and we'll see. You know, once I'm getting ready to, you know, do the financial negotiations, I think we
have your people call Jacques people.
So if you get Joe and I to help you, you know, give him the money he needs to get over here from Nigeria, and then Joe gets two people and I get two people, but it's not a pyramid scheme. But seriously, the fact that Dark Biden had to go over to Saudi Arabia about a week ago, and you kind of wonder why all of a sudden did that trip have to come up in the books. But the thing is, everything that came out on Monday and their drum beating and all their bullshit on Tuesday, all the right speculating, and then on Wednesday, Merrick Garland played it perfectly. And then on Wednesday night, around 10 o'clock East Coast time, is when the Washington Post reported, oh, yeah, it specifically was nuclear, you know.
Nuclear secrets.
And
I'm hoping they get, you know what, why wouldn't they give Donald Trump the fake password?
Right, I think they
might like have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the same kind of password that somebody would put on their luggage.
Password is password.
Right.
Well, what's your password?
I mean, doesn't that thing constantly change or something like that?
Well, it's also the capabilities and where they are and all these other
the other
things.
stuff. It's the other stuff.
Not just the launch codes.
It's not just the password.
But the funny thing is, the Republican brass, like, you know, McCartney and Mitch, they were supposed to have McCarthy. They were
don't bring in Paul McCartney.
Not Sir Paul McCartney. They were supposed to have a big Thursday morning. We're gonna pump our chest and do a big thing. Yeah, they all quietly backed out of it. And about 7 or 8 B-listers from the crazier wing of the Republican Party. They had a press conference and they got in front of the cameras and they wanted to know what the FBI was doing about Hunter Biden's laptop. Like literally, it's like, so nobody, here's the best thing. So it's been about 72 hours since that broke. Have either of you gentlemen heard anybody of note in the Republican Party come out and say, no, this had nothing to do with nuclear technology? And no, of course he was in his right to have those documents lying about in a place where the FBI has dozens of times over the past 6 years identified, oh, this guy's an agent for this. Oh, this woman, there was that Chinese woman spy who's in jail now, or was in jail for a little while, that they caught like illegally, like wandering around the facilities and stuff.
Marjorie Taylor Greene did file articles of impeachment against Merrick Garland.
Yes. And seriously, the crazy.
Wait. Okay. Is that a thing?
I'm reading words that she tweeted. So, and then she posted a link to some video of her giving an ad hoc kind of press conference to a bunch of, headline crazed reporters that are, just more than willing to stick a microphone or a camera in front of this bitch's face. And I say bitch in the most respectful.
No.
Oh, no?
Look, all of those performance artists, the Boebert and her, and you go down the list.
She's an asshole.
Take everything, personal feelings aside. Think about this for 1 second before you answer. Have any of them passed or brought legislation to the floor that actually helps either their constituents or the country? And the 2 years that they've been in office now, have any of those the crazy people, besides the performance art, the OAN appearances, the grifting, the showing up at the Trump rallies, have any of them done any governance, or is it completely performance theater? And I mean that. Have they done anything that you guys can point to?
I don't know. Maybe didn't one of them try to make, gun ownership the national pastime legally or something? I don't know.
Like I said, anything.
But I mean, look, but that's how it is now, right? Because you have, like, let's just say both Kentucky senators voting against the recent Inflation Act because it's being released by the wrong team, even though it literally helps one of the poorest states in the nation.
Can we throw something out there? As people who, you guys have already established, you both love game shows. I love game shows. But I think more than game shows, late night political comics is my jam. What Jon Stewart did the last couple weeks.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I thought you were going to say Dennis Miller.
Christ's sakes, Carvey. Every time I hear Dennis Miller's name out, because I listen to the Fly on the Wall podcast with Dana Carvey, he cast a launch into a Christ's sake, Carvey. Sorry, Cha-Cha. Spuddly.
His Dennis Miller's war with John Mulaney over, I'm going to get a sandwich. Like, somehow pissed him. Anyways, but staying on focus as much as my ADD can take.
He said Dennis Miller.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
But seriously, what Jon Stewart did.
Hey, did you see that weekend update where
what Jon Stewart did, completely embarrassing the GQP into retaking the vote, because
you're talking about the PACT Act.
But let's look, we've been talking about awful, and that's what, to be honest, that's what that side wants. Even if they're in the news and dominate the news being awful, they'd rather dominate the news with the awful than the good. Let's talk about the good for a second. Gas prices nationwide have come down almost every day the last 50 days.
The national average is now below $4.
$4. Right. And it's
which is a win.
It's one of those things
right
where,
now.
no, I mean, look, like when somebody's like, he murdered my puppy is headline news. Oh, puppy found in doghouse out back is the retraction at page 9 under the JC.
You know what? But I would say, I'll bet you our friend Dr. Ross would say, you know what? A sustained gas price increase is probably good because, hey, We got this greenhouse gas thing to deal with.
Yeah,
you know?
we're addicted to gasoline. We drive to like literally every place. Like there's like tons of people in like, especially in like remote areas where they drive like half an hour and wait in line to drop their kids off at school.
Right.
Right. And they just wait in line to pick their kids up, and it's like,
what do you think has been the this global warming effect of the invention of drive-throughs, where you have cars with their engines running for many
to buy
minutes at a time
dead cows,
Look,
which are really contributing to the greenhouse effect.
On the way out of Dodge. Biff, what do you think the first thing and the last thing my boys and I did coming to and leaving LA?
You killed a dead cow?
No, we went through In-N-Out.
Yes.
And the In-N-Out by LAX, we went through in the drive-through with Renetsky's bigger of the two monster trucks she has. It was about a half hour to go through that drive-through, but there's no other option. Like, you honestly would have to, anyways. But no, you're right. But here's the thing.
You honestly would have to park. Isn't that an option?
It is an option, but we had all the luggage in the back. So it would have been a huge thing to take all the luggage out of the back of the pickup truck, put it in the cab.
Let's drill down further.
So, hey, no, I want to be positive for a few seconds here.
Because maybe, the other option was maybe go on another day other than the day you have all the luggage. I think that's another.
The whole thing is it's on the way to the airport. The last thing the boys wanted, their last, the Last Supper.
Their last meal before they get on a plane.
Exactly. It could be their last meal. Let's face it.
Yeah, you know what? When they're dying of all the heat in, 45 years,
right,
they're going to look back at this moment.
I needed those fries, man, Hannibal style.
Yeah.
Speaking of Last
Supper.
To the In-N-Out. Do you remember at the Last Supper when Jesus said, hey, everybody on the side of the table, we're going to take a picture? Or when Jesus is looking at the bill from the Last Supper and he's like, who ordered wine?
I can't believe you're burning off these jokes
right here
on the podcast.
Okay. So I want to be up and positive. The last couple weeks, Dark Biden has fucking kicked ass. And it did take Jon Stewart to get the burn pit shit through. It actually took Jon Stewart single-handedly standing up and embarrassing the fuck out of the GOP to vote for it. There was still a bunch of piece of shits. And I just don't know how any vet would ever vote for those guys who went out of their way, even after being embarrassed, to still vote against the money. Because it wasn't this 1,000-piece document that had a bridge in Wyoming and a kickback there. This was a clean bill. These guys are dying. These guys have these medical issues. Yeah. It's been proven time and time. And pieces of shit like Rand Paul to stand up and say no. But you know what? The administration got it through. It wasn't the gun legislation we want, but it was the first piece of gun legislation in over 20 years that got through. Just this past Thursday, the Senate, and I think either Biff or Joe, one of you guys have already said it, it passed unanimously with Democrats. Not one Republican voted for it, but it is the most proactive inflation reduction and inflation, support. Oh, by the way, the biggest greenhouse gas, everything environmental bill passed ever. Those are huge historical things.
Republicans don't want to be called anti-inflation. They're more pro-money than anything.
But it's been the thing is, it's been a really great week for Democrats. It's been which in turn is a great week for the country. On the other hand, no Republican is coming out and saying, yeah, except there's two Republicans, on the January 6th committee who Liz Cheney is about to lose her seat. She's about to lose her seat by like 30 points to a woman who is a 9/11 truther and is a mass shooting truther and is an election truther.
There were like 8 quotes around the word truther, right?
Yeah. It's but none of them. You don't hear the moderates like Mitt Romney standing up saying, yeah, Donny Three Scoops, if you have nuclear secrets that you're keeping, and the funny thing is all the backpedaling that they're doing, because it's like they had no right to go in. Well, here's the paperwork that showed they had the right to go in. Oh, well, they could have done it in other ways. Well, we gave him a year to give it back. Then we went down and picked everything up ourselves. Then we realized he didn't give us everything. So we gave him a subpoena in June, which he ignored.
If the FBI can do this to a former president, just think what they could do to you. was tweeted by like
by
the House,
a lot of them.
Was it the
Yeah.
GOP?
The GOP,
the
yeah.
Judiciary Committee or something?
So, and look,
Or
hey,
the House Committee. I don't
we
know.
both agree
I'm
that
stupid.
Biff is a piece of shit holding on to nuclear weapons or nuclear information, and his
Nuclear
house should be
It's
written.
pronounced nuclear.
Nuclear. But no, I mean that's and it's people like Titus is like, yes, everybody out there who has top secret that they've been subpoenaed to give back and has it might be right by them. Speaking of the FBI, Biff, if you got really upset and agitated because, let's say, the FBI, shut down the NHL network, how would you handle it? Would you go fight them one-on-one, mano a mano?
Listen, you know what? I'm just generally not a gun guy to start with, and not saying that anything wrong with just responsible gun ownership and so on, but I think in general, like starting a gunfight, I think in all cases is a bad idea, and then picking the FBI as your opponent, like when you're kind of trying to do a gunfight against the organization that they call in when they want to have somebody sharp shot to death, I'm thinking that's a bad selection of opponents. I'm just saying. So
look. The guy did have an AK-15 or an AR-15.
Let's frame this story before we start jumping into the
Go
details.
ahead, Joe. Thank you.
What the fuck is Jacques talking about? You asking every day of your life? In this instance, he's talking about a man who apparently in Cincinnati took it upon himself to, fight for his right to take down the FBI single-handedly. So he went in kind of guns a-blazing to the FBI office in Cincinnati.
Well,
or not really.
He kind of went in guns a-blazing with a nail gun. He started off with
I didn't say which gun.
Nail gun.
But it was the later one was an actual gunfight, right? So he started with a nail gun into the FBI building,
and they had real.
And then
guns.
I thought there was a chase, and then went back to his house. He wouldn't surrender, and it turned into a gunfight.
Now I will say, and it will be backed up. We can have him on the podcast. Our friend John made a good deal of money over a nail gun misfire that killed a dude. Yeah. So we know they're deadly. But if you're going to fight windmills and your first weapon is, let's see, I have the Bowie knife. I have the got the AK. Hold on.
Right.
Got a nail gun here. Did he carry was the air compressor on a holster? Because those things.
I don't know the details of what his plan was, but
but that's one of those suicide by cop type thing. I mean, there's no way he thought, because it's funny how many people, again.
How old of a guy was he?
He's my age. He's in 50, late 40s.
Oh yeah, so he had nothing
50s.
to live for. He was at the end.
No, he's it's
over. He's washed out.
Life expectancy. But seriously, I love when Christopher Titus says things like, yeah, you and your well-regulated militias with your AK-15s keep forgetting the government has drones. like we got to have these in case the government gets out of hand. You mean with their drones? Like the guy that they took out. Oh, that's another thing. And Dark Biden took out the head of Al-Qaeda this week.
Yes. Successfully.
Well,
I mean, the guy was like doing something, a very routine thing, like by clockwork. He was like, would he go onto a balcony at a certain time every Saturday or something like that? I'm just going to go out for my Saturday public stroll out to my balcony where nobody can possibly strike
no civilian casualties. I mean, it was a perfectly executed execution.
Yeah, it was a duck shot.
And
duck shoot.
The fact that another thing, I mean, seriously, and that's one of those things. I remember the day that they got Osama bin Laden. I implore anybody listening, go to YouTube, look up the footage from Fox News the following morning. They were not only speechless, the woman host at the time, they started to try to spin it and try to, blah, blah, blah. And just started to cry because they couldn't say anything bad about the black guy in the tan suit that day. Yeah.
And Hillary.
She plenty of stuff. But seriously, it was one of those things where, we started a 20-year war to get the guy. You didn't get him. The black guy in the tan suit did. But it was funny again this week when they, the people like The Daily Show, beat the footage between backing Donny Four Scoops having nuclear code or nuclear information that may or may not have he did sell to the Saudis versus, I guess a few weeks ago, Joe Biden stopped the motorcade to get an ice cream. And the cost to have the Secret Service get out of the car and go in and secure the location. Honestly, it was hysterical. But it's been a great week for Dark Biden. So
I don't understand this dark bite. Is this a your thing?
oh no, it's
a...
that's they're trying to make him. They're trying to combat Sleepy Joe.
The laser eye. It's the laser eye Biden.
The meme
that laser eye Biden thing, right?
You know,
from the boys.
See, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
So Joe, I'll ask you, what happens next? What do you think transpires over the next week? What do you think Donny Four-Scoop's next couple weeks are? And the best thing is, look, the people who are part of the Lincoln Project are part of the fucking problem. They were all backers of Bush. They were all backers of the war in Iraq. They all were backers of what's the guy who used to be the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. But it went too far for them. Please tell me you guys have seen their latest ad where the woman is talking. It's like, so who sold you out, Donny? Was it this? Was it Ivanka? Like the panic that is setting in because somebody told them exactly what was there and where it was. So the FBI knew that he had this information, but somebody told him exactly where it is. And I don't know. Joe, what do you think happens next couple weeks in Donny's land?
Well, I would say that such as places like Mar-a-Lago and such as the Iraqs, whereas as the nuclear codes have such as the FBI,
well, whereas heretofore,
such as heretofore. 3, 2, 1.
And that was the contestant from South Carolina. We thank you very much. What about you, Biff? What do you think happens next couple weeks?
I mean, not to do the same thing.
You summed it up perfectly.
I mean, I think I took Biff's answer. Really,
we're in uncharted waters, right? This is uncharted waters. It's like
you're trying to wait. Time out. Let's dissect the absurdity of Jacques asking an idiot like myself, who is not political minded, to try to predict Donald Trump's reactions. Like theologians, 100 years from now are still going to try to predict what he had done, because even after it happened, they're going to be like, wait,
what do you think the FBI does? What do you okay. So they evaluate, they got the documents, they got it back, and they're like, oh, fuck. These were the documents.
Nothing happened. No, okay. Bottom line, nothing happens. Like in the grand scheme of things, he lives another 15 years. He may get reelected president again because nothing matters. It's all wacky town USA.
The latest that came out yesterday is the FBI is fingerprinting to see whose fingers. Literally, they want to find out. Yeah, maybe he faxed this to a couple people, but who came in?
Can't they just brush the Cheeto dust off the documents for DNA? I mean,
oh. Well,
if not, I know the likelihood, as you say, is nothing's going to happen. But I think in a kind of a comical way, like I'm presuming the key players aren't going anywhere. But what if Eric, went to jail? I think that would be kind of funny.
Nothing's gonna. You know what's gonna happen? The first hole at his Mar-a-Lago golf course is gonna start smelling pretty badly because I'm sure that's a shallow grave.
There's I'm honestly I'm optimistic because between what's going on in New York with that, civil case and that Farrakhan and people turning on him, the Georgia thing isn't going away. And January 6th, look, Liz Cheney knows she's about to lose her election. I think it's on Tuesday. So she's got 4 months in office. She is honestly going scorched earth because she's looking at being the savior of the Republican Party. She honestly believes, this wave of crazy is going to crest at one point. This house of cards is going to come down at one point. The people in power right now who, like, they had Ron Johnson, the congressman, had his phone seized. He was one of the big January 6th insiders who was giving tours to people. I think Liz Cheney realizes, I'm going to be the one Republican who can run for president in 4 years and say, look, I'm a moderate. I stood up to him then. I stood up to him now. I lost my bubble. I think she is playing the long game, but I think where she has nothing to lose, she goes scorched earth.
And I think that's a real hot, and eventually that kind of pushes her climb to the president, and I think that eventually it'll come out that when you looked under her scalps, there's 3 6s in a pyramid.
Yeah.
Because
No,
Well, I
shit.
mean, honestly, I think. Does she have a career in politics?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
She's in for long. Now,
Oh, and she's not. She's not. Well, I mean, is she not going to take the route of like putting out book? Well, I guess
Oh, yeah.
all politicians.
she'll
put out books
definitely
before
put out a book in the next 2 years, but she'll come back. Like, look, she's going to help put some people away.
She's not going to be a co-host on The View.
She is going. She's a piece of shit. Like, let's face it, because she was one of the 102 people who voted against the bill in the House on Friday. She still votes. She didn't vote to support marriage.
Yeah.
Listen, all this thing has not made her like poor people or brown people any more than right? I mean,
Yeah.
So
she. But at least, look, like Biden and the administration has had the most successful 18 months in office. Like, historically, the amount of legislation that has been passed, and I like to point out legislation that actually helps people, that helps the environment, that helps planet. Again, we got a gun bill through. Is it what we wanted? Is it really have a lot of teeth in it? No. But the dam has broken where they got something through. You go down the list of the accomplishments, gas being under 4, all that bullshit. It has been a great week. Plus, just in the last week, there's no more COVID war in the Ukraine, right? That's over. It's all done.
Yeah,
we're good.
It was pretty great.
All right.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know. There's too much. I don't have enough bandwidth to follow all the awful. I mean, I came back from LA without COVID, so that was a big thing. Every time I'm going to get off a plane for the next 20 years, I'm going to assume.
Well, hey,
me and everybody on the plane has it.
Right. I mean, as
I did take a plane trip, and a couple of days after that, I got one of the, I have those notification apps that tracks essentially activity by Bluetooth and who reports that they have COVID. So I got one of those things. Hey, you were in a close proximity of a person who reported, to have COVID, and it's like, oh, great,
right?
But you survived. So, let's talk about fun election stuff. Across the pond, not that pond, the other pond. What's happening in Japan these days, Biff?
I don't know. I mean, didn't I put a crime thing in there?
Yes, and it says election tampering.
How the hell should I know?
That one.
Blow the handoff. Wow, that was a fucking layup, Biff.
Totally forgot what I put up there. That's right. You know what? I was actually thinking of another stupid thing, and then I think I decided against that one. So
you're using your paper not for writing, but for rolling doobies.
that takes so much more effort. There's modern technology has a much better delivery mechanism. What am I talking about here?
You're giving away trade secrets.
Anyway, so did you know that like tampering with like election posters is a crime in Japan? There literally is, like an election, improprieties act or something like that in Japan.
Well, I was hoping. So
that's election tampering, basically.
Joe and I watched the clips. He was trying to find. He was able to find the subtitling button on YouTube, but it subtitled it in Japanese.
By the time I got to the auto translate button, the video had ended, and you had to join us.
But it was, I was a little disappointed because there's going to be graffiti on this, and of course you figured they were going to write dicks on the posters, but what were they writing on the posters?
So I think on many of them he wrote the letter Z, right? Or Z.
There were 2 symbols. So one of them, I don't know.
One on the woman's forehead.
Yeah, one looked different than the other.
Yeah, but there were definitely Zs, and I don't know if you caught during the video they had showed photos of videos of tanks.
Correct.
And apparently that's what the Ukrainians are putting Zs on the back of Russian tanks. So he apparently interpreted that to say, hey, Z means bad. Z means evil. Oh. So that was the meaning behind the Z's on the forehead of these evil politicians. But you know what the most amazing part about this whole thing is?
They were able to find which guy did it?
Absolutely. I mean, right? I mean, obviously, aside from the usual jokes. I mean, seriously.
No, I was being serious at the fact that it's like it's such a minor crime, but they were able to spend the resources to track him down.
It's like, when was the last time anybody was like, caught graffitiing in this country, and do they even bother chasing them?
No.
Right? I mean,
The last
So-
time somebody was caught graffitiing that I can remember, it was Bart Simpson.
Uh-huh.
And when they were living in what country did they were in that he was going to get caned,
Oh, so is it Singapore?
and they negotiated with the embassy that yes, he was going to get caned, but then when he dropped his pants,
Oh
to
no,
get
that was
spanked-
Australia. Yeah, he besmirched. No, he made a prank phone call to Australia. You're kind of conflating the story of the Singapore kid who was actually caned.
No, because
Oh.
the Simpsons, I swear,
was
did.
another one?
And so when Bart dropped his pants, he had like their flag
That was Australia.
on his butt,
Yeah.
and so they didn't want to.
Well,
You're like,
he made a prank phone call to Australia, and then that was
Okay.
yeah.
But he was going to get caned. Is the thing, and he wrote a picture on his butt that they
He was
then
gonna get
didn't want.
booted.
Booted.
They didn't have caning over; they have booting.
Ah.
Where the prime minister puts on a big boot and ceremoniously, kicks the perpetrator bare-assed, and at the last minute, Bart Simpson dodged, pulled his pants down, and then said, like, "Eat my shorts," and had you know what? Go watch The Simpsons. It's a much better show than this podcast.
So-
everything.
So one more thing about my homeland, though, because I don't know if you saw, when the Abe assassination happened, if it wasn't politically motivated, what could it be, right? Our friend Dr. Cook tweeted that out. So, and I don't know if you've been following it, but the reason for the assassination was that his mother, the assassin's mother, was in this kind of Reverend Moon derivative cult church,
Ooh.
and basically, gave away the family's, financial assets to this church. And it basically ruined his family. He was angry at the family. And then he associated Abe with the organization because there was actually, there was this kind of a video kind of a event for this church. And Abe does a cameo on it.
Oh,
And
and he took that as an endorsement.
Right. Now, do you know who else did a cameo on that event?
Lady Gaga.
Come on. Who's a person that'll take any money any way they come?
Oh, it's gotta
Gilbert
be,
Gottfried.
No. I see his face. The QAnon guy.
No.
Ted Nugent.
Let's just say if Abe did it, Abe, the former prime minister of Japan, did it. What other former head of state might
Donny
do it?
Four Scoops.
Don.
Yeah.
I was thinking like lower, like Giuliani or
No.
Wow.
Anyway, so I think
If I didn't know any better,
so-
I'd say he's a piece of shit. But hey,
But yeah, so that was the reason. And you know what the funny thing is? The church just renamed their organization because coincidentally, we don't know why.
Right. It's kind of like when the
So, yeah.
KKK renamed themselves the National Rifle Association.
well done, Joe. Any game show news?
Let's see. Well, there are new game shows that I haven't been watching. This is the Summer of Fun and Games on ABC, as you well know.
Oh, yeah.
There's a
Wow.
fourth season of Press Your Luck on the air right now, and that's actually more seasons than the original Press Your Luck went. Not as many episodes, but still. But that's like their crown jewel of the summer ABC.
And are you studying
the
the
pattern?
map?
No, you can't. That's unbreakable now. Unbreakable. But they're having actually old contestants from the '80s come back and play. And
Oh my god!
So yeah, and they're playing
That's-
clips of Peter Tomarken and
Right.
so it's like nice. They know who they're playing.
Yeah,
to.
okay.
Me, basically me. So
and Rodney,
right,
I think
and
our
Rodney.
friend
Oh God bless you. Oh, but there is a weird I'm waiting for the death toll on this show to just go up exponentially. That Fox has this new show. No, maybe not. No. Is it Fox or maybe it is ABC? They have a show called. It is ABC. It's called the Final Straw, and it's basically an absurd Jenga type game where
Oh wow!
they bring there's no audience. It's a large
Right.
dark studio,
Yeah.
and they stage this massive tower of items that are usually themed, and it's very well done. But there's picture an elaborate birthday cake with multiple layers, but instead it's the first layer is a bunch of chairs, and then the second layer is a bunch of lamps and whatever, and then there's little discs or big discs between each layer. and there's like this rotating like staircase ladder type thing where you can try to get up to the upper levels, and each team has to have a contestant designated to pull one item out of the stack at a time, and then whoever makes it fall loses. But when this thing falls, it's literally like 30 feet tall. If you're on a staircase and it topples towards you,
you're gone.
I don't know how they get these
Do
people.
Do they wear helmets or anything?
No, they're just like regular people. One's coaching the other, and then once they touch whatever they're going to pull, they have to pull it. And there are people on the like in the proximity of the splash zone, if you will, on the ground, like just like it looks like they're barely getting out of the way. I don't know if that's creative editing or what. And I know that these things are edited to shit, but it's just like somebody's going to die on this show. Like, I don't know. I mean, there was another show back in the early 2000s where like they had somebody sitting like essentially in like an electric chair. It was called The Hot Seat.
Yes.
With John McEnroe. Yeah, with John McEnroe. And I think they just turned up the heat on this chair as they were asking them trivia questions. But like, yeah, this show is like, it's the dumbest show on television. And I don't get, but I watched it because it was like, it's a new show. And I'm like, let's see what the hell this is.
And it's on television.
You're right. And it's on, what else am I doing? But yeah, it's like the dumbest show. So I don't recommend that. And there's another show that Jimmy Kimmel produced.
You broke it down for 10 minutes.
Listen, I
don't recommend that.
I only watched it to find out how to stop watching it. And then there's another show that Jimmy Kimmel produces that's hosted by Kelly Ripa on ABC called Generation Gap. And it's kind of a lame show where they take a father, like an older person and a younger person, two teams of like an older person and a younger person. And they are asked questions about like, all right, here's a picture of a man. Who is it? And it's like Pee Wee Herman or something like that. Or, somebody from, somebody more like Lizzo. They'll show a picture of Lizzo and ask an older person, who is that? And then they just have to guess what it is. And it's a decent premise. But then here's the big FU moment. And I don't know how far they're going to go with this. So the winner goes to the final round, right? And the final round is they have a large stage where they have two items. It's like a brand new, $40,000 car, or like a little kid's arcade game. And it's like they have to have like a member of their family choose which one they want which prize they want. And it's like, well, yeah, you take the fucking car. No, not if the person making the choice is literally a 3-year-old toddler. So they have the episode I watched. They had a toddler from the member of a toddler from the family, sit with Kelly Ripa, and she's explaining, it's like, which one do you want? Now you walk to the one that you want to take home with you. Do you want the car, or do you want this Paw Patrol arcade game? And of course he goes to the arcade game, and it's like, okay, there's your fucking prize. Fuck off. Good night. And it's just like, well, they had money from the game, but then it's just like, well, what kind of fuck you is that to the?
Is there somebody from social services behind the curtain ready to put that child in some kind of protection?
I mean,
look, I loved my boys when they were 3, but if they chose an Imagine X Batman set versus a car, look.
Well, what if the car was the Batmobile?
Right. Well, then they might have picked that. Yeah. But hey, at that point, management and I were young enough to have another one. We would just fucking cut our losses.
And that child is now property of ABC.
Oh, hey, speaking of cutting your losses, so Biff, you would enjoy this. Management, aside from following Duran Duran around the world, last week went to Fenway Park to see Joan Jett. Joan Jett, Molly Crew, Poison, and Def Leppard.
Right?
Def Leppard.
Yeah.
So she said Joan Jett was fun. But Joan Jett and Poison had to cut their sets by 3 or 4 songs because a huge thunderstorm rolled through and pushed the show back for an hour. So Joan Jett had to do a shorter set. Poison had to do she said, and you got to look this up. Who is the guitar player for Def Leppard? Do you know?
Which one?
Well, whatever.
There's Phil Collin and Vivian Campbell.
I think it's Phil. I guess he's 60 or 61 years old. Is a vegan bodybuilder. Oh my fucking God. The guy,
he's a good looking man.
It's amazing looking. He's 61 fucking killing it. So Molly Crew comes out. Management and I saw them at a weenie roast like 15 years ago. He couldn't finish 2 or 3 songs.
Vince Neil.
Yeah,
he's a mess.
Couldn't get through 2. So I guess at one point of the show, so management said the median age was probably late 40s, early 50s. Some people there with families, like mom who's 50 taking her 25-year-old daughter type thing. It was not a family thing, but it was an older crowd mixed thing. Tommy Lee decides, hey, this isn't as much fun when we used to come to Boston. I haven't seen any titties. Literally gets to the mic and starts asking.
Yeah.
And management is there with another friend in her age group. She's like, is this really fun?
After rock and roll, baby.
After Time's Up, after all this shit. And he basically...
He likes Me Too, as in show me 2 titties.
And then after basically holding up the show until a few girls flashed, wouldn't play until he started flashing him. She's like, we stood here in the rain. We took 2 hours to get here.
So did Ellen do it?
For this? Oh, yeah. Well, she wanted to hear the rest of the fucking
right.
set,
I mean, come on.
But she was like, oh, my God. And then 2 days later, the piece of shit, takes a picture of his cock and puts it on Twitter. It's like, dude,
is it his new profile pic?
It's like, yeah, dude, I get that.
Have you seen Pam and Tommy?
I haven't. I have no desire.
It's so I didn't finish it, but it is funny. It's Seth Rogen.
No desire. I watched the Pistols thing on Hulu.
It's fucking.
That was great.
What's his name? Sebastian. The guy. What's it? I'm blanking.
Right.
Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Right.
Yeah, he plays Tommy Lee. And
Sebastian
Stan. Yeah.
Hey, who played Black Panther?
Chadwick, but who played Black? Did you see the new Black Panther? You don't watch trailers.
No, Bo. So I don't know anything about it. I'm just hoping
there's a Black
sister.
There is a Black Panther too.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it for you.
I know it's coming out, but I'm hoping it's a sister.
It's called Wakanda Forever. Oh, I spoiled it.
There you go. All right. Well, good night, everybody. So
Wakanda expires on April 17th. That's what he meant to say.
So I'm let's talk about sports for just a second. I didn't even know that the NFL preseason had started. I don't fucking care. I know one of the last couple Patriots who I give a shit about, James White, retired the other day. But it looks like this season, the GOAT, TB12, Tom Brady's starting off 0-1 with marriages.
Yeah, something's happening, right? For personal reasons, right? What's happening?
So let's review.
He's taking. So he had pre-scheduled some time away from preseason, training to take care of personal reasons, personal matters, and they didn't get into specifics. But you seem to know more specifics.
It's coming out that it's a divorce. That's what the insiders. And it's great because he goes down to Tampa. Wins.
Wait, who are the insiders? Are they
like NFL? Blue check mark people in and around the teams and in and around his inner circle with expats.
Have you seen who gets
like
blue check marks? I just wanted to.
No, well, you know what I mean. And not me. I'm not the one out there saying, Giselle's finally had it, and because as devout Patriot fans as Joe and I were, it was his last 10 years here, there was more than rumbling that his wife is ready for the next chapter of their life. And his last few years, he cut back from football, taking up 13 months of the year, and he cut it down to 11 and a half months of the year. But his last few years with the Pats, he didn't show up for the OTAs. He would go to Montana and post clips, look, I'm out here training, but he wasn't making football 12 months of the year.
Right.
And it was very publicly kept quiet that he was doing it for family reasons, spending more time down at Carnival, as we've already mentioned in the show, and stuff like that. But, so in the offseason, he gets the coach promoted to the front office. They got Bruce Arians to come out of retirement. And even when they won the Super Bowl, that first year in Tampa, Bruce Arians threw him under the bus a few times. And I think that's the first time Tom Brady realized, I guess maybe I was 51% and Bill was 49%, but I guess he didn't throw me under the bus every time we fucking lost a game. And Bruce Arians did that. So he got him promoted to the front office and signs a new contract, gets the owner of the Dolphins suspended for tampering because Brady came out and said, "Oh yeah, he offered me a contract to come play there." It's like, so here, Dolphin fans still fight. He's out of the division. He's out of the conference,
right?
But he's still fucking their team.
Oh, and you know what? Good for them.
Good for him.
Yeah, I like it.
All the pain that, you remember that game where the Patriots won and then the Dolphins, the flea flicker, and Gronk made that awful tackle attempt, and it kept the Patriots from being 13-3 that season. They were only 12-4, won the Super Bowl. But Miami, it turned the corner. That's the year they were 7-9 because of that big win. So fuck them. But yeah, so Tom Brady's 0-1 with marriages.
Well, you got something in common with him. Oh, wait.
I'm 1-for-1. Game's not over yet. Maybe I'm 0-1-1, and we'll call this one a tie. The 7 happiest years of my life. You've been together 19, Chuck. I stand by what I said. Anyways, Biff, you got nothing with sports because hockey's not happening. So tell us what you're watching this week, Biff.
I had no idea. I'm going to probably watch my usual rotation of Japanese news and all-girl heavy metal bands from Japan. I actually do need to catch up on. Hopefully by next time I'll have something that I've watched and maybe something new.
Like Murderers in the
really
Building.
Is nothing on.
Oh, there's so much great stuff on. There's so much great. What are you watching, Joe?
I'm anticipating the series finale. By the time you hear this podcast, it will have aired probably, of Better Call Saul. Such fine television that Better Call Saul is. That Bob Odenkirk, man, can he act? I mean, for as far as you can take the character of Saul Goodman, just perfect.
Do you have to watch that Breaking Bad to act, or can you just watch
you don't have to, but it's it's pretty. You'll appreciate it a lot more. But Better Call Saul stands alone, stands very very well on its own without having to rely heavily. I mean, but there's a lot of there's that
just
guy.
like the Star Wars prequels. You don't have to watch the original.
Right, you can enjoy Rogue One,
right?
Yeah, right. No, but this is very they should win all the Emmys this year. This is such compelling television. It's very good. It's on AMC if you don't know by now. What's wrong with you people? But you know what I'm not watching? Batgirl.
Oh
yeah.
I had to bring it up. I had to. I was like, it's not on the rundown.
I'm looking at the no. You know what? My dad leaving when I was 6 isn't on the rundown either. You want to talk about that for a little bit?
Why not? You have it on the bulletin board up there. Every time I leave this place, I look at a board that has all of his comedy quote ideas, and the first topic, the first topic says "Dad left," and it's just like it's kind of like what do they have at Notre Dame, that sign that you hit?
Yeah, or Ted Lasso, the Believe.
The Believe. That's your Believe sign. Instead of Believe, it says Dad. Your sign says Leave. Your sign just says Dad leave. I mean, but anyway, yeah.
Jacques, if you're ever gonna do some rehab to your house, maybe you should draw a painting of your dad's car driving away and all of the doors on the inside, so as you leave.
Why is all the picture of your dad just the back of his head? That's all I remember.
Yeah, just get to recreate the license plate. But yeah, Batgirl. So briefly, Batgirl is a movie that was filmed and screened and apparently stunk, according to one CEO of a certain company.
One CEO. And it's like Michael Keaton. You got Michael Keaton to put on the cape and cowl after 35 years.
Spoilers.
And you're cutting a movie with but the insinuous thing is everyone's like, yeah, if they don't release it, they get a $90 million tax write-off this year.
Right. Well, it's just, Discovery Channel basically owns Warner Brothers now, which is fucking bizarre.
But all the other things. So, look, I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. I love Marvel. I love DC.
I love Lamp.
I love Lamp. Are you just saying words? but DC
I was waiting for one of you guys to go to the big butts, but it just never happened.
Right. I cannot lie.
So
you other brothers can't deny.
But with that said, DC can't get out of its own fuck. The biggest superhero ever is Superman, will always be. And the fact that there's been 2 standalone Superman movies in the last 40 years is fucking insane.
You know how many active Harley Quinn actors there are now?
Yeah, there's
4.
Right.
4 Harley Quinns.
Superman has, in the time between the Brendan Ross Superman and the what's his name?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. There was not.
Oh, actually, who's the new Superman on the CW show?
There wasn't in between the big screen two Superman movies. In between those two movies, they kicked a field goal, not with 3 different Spider-Men, but 2 Spider-Man trilogies, and Andrew Garfield had 2. They did honestly 8 incredibly successful movies of Spider-Man in between the 2 Superman movies, and you can't fucking get. And they can't get out of their own way. And they're look, the Flash movie, you gotta cancel it. You don't have a chance. Like Ezra Miller.
There are 3 options on the table apparently. Okay. Ezra Miller, depending on what the charges come out to be, or how it plays out. Maybe they have Ezra Miller do limited press and then they release it, or they release it and he does no press. Or option C, the nuclear option is the Batgirl option. They just they take
and
it
there's
out.
also you love Cobra Kai, right?
I do.
Who was the kid from was he from Nicaragua? Johnny's disciple.
Oh, with Miguel, the guy who played Miguel.
He left the show, or he wasn't in the last season that much.
Oh yeah,
because he went off to do the Blue Beetle.
Oh,
and he bulked up to do that. Guess what? Also is shot and done that is on. We might not release this.
A Latino-led movie,
right? You got a woman of color Batgirl movie that you're scrapping. You got a Latino, like, dude.
I'm waiting for the Duck Dynasty movie to come out. You know, like what shows are on Discovery? Like Ice Road Truckers? Is that
that's a whole fucked up thing. It's like, dude. It's kind of
it doesn't
Kevin Smith, who is much smarter than the 3 of us collectively, knows more about has forgotten more about comics than I'll ever know. He flat out says it's like, yeah, just because of these are people of color driven projects,
right? And
you're canceling them, and at the same time you're trying to get Ben Affleck to come back.
It's a bad look. It's a real bad look. But I mean, look at the same.
Okay. Are the boys proud of this? At DC, are the Proud Boys at DC really going to cancel all the?
Hi-oh. But no. Even if it's not racially motivated, which it might be, but even if it isn't, and maybe let's say it is a big fucking stinker, let it stink.
Right.
You've done worse.
Put it on the streaming thing.
Yeah.
You don't promote it.
Or is this all part of the plan, taking it up from the inside, where they're saying they're taking away the movie and they're going, no. They're building up all this like hype, like, no, bring it back. And then they succumb to like, back by popular demand, here's your Batgirl movie. Well, and then they flood the.
It's going to get out.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
We'll see it on Daily Motion.
But they don't
Vimeo.
care, right? They don't really care if it gets out, right? If they just want the tax.
If they get their $90 million taxing,
they just can't be legally. It can't be legitimately released by Warner Brothers.
If somebody stole it, is it? Oh no, that's horrible. Catch the people who did this to us.
Right, and they probably would go after them.
No, it's so. I've, as normal, I'm watching way too much television. Management, I just watched a fun series on Amazon. I think it's called Paper Girls, about 4 12-year-old girls, 1988, delivering papers outside, small, a town outside of Cleveland in 1988. And it's
cool.
It takes a couple twists. You can't say anything without giving it away what happens at the end of the first episode, but it's fun. It's in the Stranger Things realm. It's like
it's supernatural.
Yeah. It's not well, at one point I did look at my wife and say, when does this become the Sister of the Traveling Pants? Am I really watching this come of age 12-year-old? And I looked at my ankle bracelet and I called my pro like, am I allowed to watch this? Does this violate something? No, but that's okay. But Loot on Apple TV is great. Maya Rudolph, she divorces her husband, who's kind of like a Bill Gates, kind of Jeff Bezos, and she becomes the 3rd richest woman in the world.
Oh, so it's Jeff Bezos' ex-wife story.
Kind of. But, it's like it's fun. It's a fun story.
Nice.
But Maya Rudolph's, she's just fucking fantastic in everything.
I have to watch that show. I'm watching The Rehearsal.
You might not like it because you feel good about things. And I know when you watch things, that smile. Yeah, it's like it has some conflict, it has some up and downs, but you know what? It's not a show where everybody's shitty and you try to out shitty the next guy to get one rung up on the ladder. It's not that. So it's a little.
All right, I'm out.
You feel things sometimes.
I feel things when I'm watching other shows.
I will tell you, last night, management and I watched Lightyear. So with your kid, did you see the first Biff? Did you see the first Toy Story in the theater? Was that a big thing with your kid?
That was before his kid was born.
Yeah, I think the first Toy Story was before
95.
He was born.
95.
Your kid was born in 2000, right?
Okay.
99. 99, but still, yeah.
Okay. So it's so we watched Lightyear, management and I, last night. It was perfect. It honestly, it hit all the right notes. You laughed. It had so many little nods to the original. It also had lines from every science fiction movie ever. Yeah. There was a little something in there for Star Trek nerds. There was stuff for Star Wars nerds. There was stuff for 2001 Space Odyssey nerds. It's basically a movie made for me. But there was like, actual lines that, he would say when you pull the string from Toy Story, because this is the movie
that Buzz Lightyear was based on.
That the toy was based on. It was Andy's favorite movie.
Right.
And so all those
It was his
lines,
Back to the Future, or his Star Wars.
It was. Keep going. It was his Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters 2016, that is. Because that's every kid's favorite movie.
Wow. You just hate women.
No, I just hate the way that they portrayed women in that movie.
Yeah,
unfunny.
Well, as you've said 1,000 times, women. That's Jerry Lewis.
Right.
My mistake.
Same initials. Different guy.
So that's what I got. My parenting tip, and I'll just start. I took the boys on another trip. They were really excited to get out to LA and bring their game systems and sit in somebody else's house and play games. Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
right.
Yes. Did they bring their PS4? Yes. Did they bring their Switch? What were they going to do on the plane? Did I draw the line at the Oculus? Of course not.
No.
So
I bought it for you.
Right. I spent the $500. But the point is, we got out there. That's what they wanted to do. Joe even had to get an 70-foot Ethernet cable for me the day before I left.
Oh, by the way, how did that work out? Did you need that long of a cable? It was like a 50-foot cable.
It did.
Wow.
There wasn't a lot of
slack.
Yeah, did
it go across the line? Like was it like the old days when you pulled a kitchen phone into the bedroom?
Let's just say it's an OSHA. There was some OSHA violations there. But for other reasons also.
But I did. My parenting tip, as always, just fucking make him do stuff. I'm still bigger. Well, technically, I am the same size as my now 14-year-old. He's the same height as me.
But not a way around.
No,
you still got him in the girth department.
I still do for now, but we were pretty close a while. Anyways, I can still put him in a hold, get him in the monster truck, and make him go to Six Flags. And we did. We had a great time. I listened to their concerns. I understood that, hey, their friend on the East Coast is going online at this time. And I calmly let him explain and then said, I don't care what your fucking online friend's schedule is. We're here. We're doing these things we can only do here. You're fucking going to do them. Now, you can do them and enjoy them. Or you can do them, be a dick about it, which will then make me a dick about it. And we'll have an awful time at Waterworld, which... You can't have an awful time at Waterworld.
Impossible. I was only there once, and I wish I could live there.
I'm gonna ruin it. The guy comes out and he says, "The green chairs are the splash zone. If you're in the green chairs, you're gonna get wet. The silver chairs behind the green chairs, we ran out of paint." Every time I laugh, every fucking time. I'm done.
Yeah, I am also done with this podcast forever. I'm retiring on top. King of the podcasts. And, sorry, Joe Rogan. Sorry, Mark Maron. Sorry, Conan O'Brien. You're all history. It's all Joe all the time. Yeah, see? This is the kind of content that the kids want. This is the kind of stuff that Blue Chew wants to advertise on. This rambling, right, Biff?
What was that?
All right. Well, we're gonna have to. Biff, unfortunately, Jacques hung himself, so we have to hang. I mean, sorry, we have to. We have to end this podcast. We have to put it down, if you will. You know, yeah, we have to go take it out for a ride.
It's my podcast.
Yeah.
We got to tie it to a tree, and we got to end it. It's too much. It's too much.
Oh, it's too much. Well, did we get everything on the rundown? Because don't forget.
Wish I had some dozen donuts. Wish I had some donut jams. Donuts make me stuffed and happy. I could eat a bunch of them. There's a wildlife. Donut is who I am. 52 varieties, hard to know. How about some broccoli curry filled with jam? Donut shops are always crowded. Hardly ever an empty chair. Always talking about cars and bowling, plumbers, parties everywhere. Donut prices are on the rise. Inflation's in the donut ton. Maybe they could make it too by mixing bread with cake. Donut is the world. Donut is who I am. This is the right. Oh no. How about somebody come here with you? Come on. Yeah.